Episode 16 of the On the Air podcast, starring you. And today's guest, from St. Louis, Missouri, he's one of the hosts of the Morris and Jerome Show. He's an Iraqi war veteran. Having dealt with PTSD, he's a supporter and success story of psychiatric treatment. You can find him on Twitter at Less Is More. Please welcome Les. Hey, I'm back. And you guys are still here listening. How about that? Look at the Lord. The Lord. Look at the Lord. You know it's serious when they put the DT on the end of Lord. The Lord. I said I'm back like I really been somewhere. It's just been a week, and if you follow me on Twitter, then I haven't been anywhere. Don't you guys hate when people are like, "Hey, I'm back"? You like, dude, you just went to the store. Like stop playing. But all jokes aside, no, I'm really glad that you guys are still here. You guys are still listening. You guys have made the last two episodes two of the largest listens that I have. So I really appreciate that. The last episode, Brittany, she was leading in the most downloads for the most downloaded show, but then you guys kind of picked back up on Lowe's episodes. So, I mean, both of those episodes are really great. So, I mean, I want you guys to check them out. Shout out to everybody that's still leaving their 5-star reviews on iTunes. I can't thank you enough for that. Let me go ahead and read one of those. This one is from Matt McWilliams. He says, "Wow. On the Air podcast starring you is flat out awesome. Good production quality, easy to listen, very impressed. Keep bringing it." And again, shout out to Matt McWilliams for that one. Thanks. You guys, I want to hear more of your feedback, what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, things you want to see more of or hear more of. Also, if you guys have any suggestions as to who you guys want to see interviewed, like you guys can see it, hear interviewed on the show, let me know. Tweet me at The Real Shitty, that's Shitty with a C, or at OTAP Show, the show's Twitter account. You guys can send an email to otap@writeme.com or fill out the form on otapshow.com. And either way, one of those ways, if you guys have my number, text me, shoot me a DM. One of those ways I will hear it and I will get you going. I have already gotten a few from people that's been requesting to get on the show. I see you, and we will get you guys booked. I have some guests coming up that I don't want to talk too much about yet, but I'm very excited about. Stay tuned to otapshow.com for more details. But as soon as those are finalized, I will let you guys know about that. I haven't done any reviews in a while, just personal reviews, so I'm going to do one of those. You guys have probably seen the commercial, the EnduraCool towels. Those are towels where you soak them in water and you pop them, like you wring them out and you pop them and it gets really cool. And it works. I've tested it with scalding hot water and it still does the same thing. Used it when I went to the amusement park a few weeks ago and kind of cooled off with that. Over the weekend, my niece, one of my adorable nieces, got married off. So that was an awesome wedding. I owe her $5 because I told her that the wedding wasn't going to get started on time, and it definitely did get started on time. So shout out to her. She had the reception at Fogo de Chao in Buckhead. So that was awesome. And the funny thing about that situation was, so I'm eating, and me and my sisters were eating, and we have our drinks, and so it's time to go, and nobody comes around with the check. So I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, and I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to make it awkward. Because I'm going to pay for my food, but, this is a pretty expensive place. So I'm looking around. I'm like, yo. I'm like, big sister. I'm like, yo, listen. They didn't come around with the checks. Like, did you pay? And she started laughing. I'm like, yo, what's funny? Because, I don't want to skip out, and I don't want nobody else to, have to pay for my food. And she was like, no, it's taken care of. So again, look at God on that one. God took care of it. It was great. It was going well. And then when we left, that's when things kind of went downhill. We found that my 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 nephew and his fiance, their car was broken into, which kind of put a damper on everything. I mean, you try to go out and you want to go and enjoy yourself. You're being peaceful, and then some motherfucker comes and just sees fit to fuck it all up. They went in and took all the little makeup stuff, took all the wallets, and they flew in. So they couldn't fly out to go back home because they couldn't get through the airport without their ID. So it's just it was one of those things, and then we had to wait about 15-20 minutes for the cop to come around, which is another thing. You think being in Buckhead, one, this type of thing wouldn't happen, and two, the police would respond a little bit quicker, but it was what it was. But other than that, we had a really great time. One thing I was thinking about earlier, you guys, like when you guys were younger, you guys ever been standing in line at the grocery store and your mom is like, wait right here, I'll be right back. And then, the closer you start getting to the register, she's not showing up yet, so you shitting bricks because you don't know what to do, because you scared you don't know what they're going to tell you. You don't have the money. And then she get there at the last minute. Nowadays, my mom, she still kind of does the same thing, but my mom just doesn't come back. Like, I'm just like, well, I mean, somebody's got to pay for it, so I'll pay for it. And then I'll be like, all right, well, maybe she walking around. Let me just take this stuff to the car. And I'd be goddamn if my mom to be sitting in the car talking about somebody. Oh, I forgot you was in there. All right, mama. Yeah, right, mama. I got you. A lot of times I'm riding around and I'll see these places that are like, I've been open since 1973, and I think, you ain't been open since no goddamn 1973. Fuck out of here. But, that's just me. Anyway, got an awesome show lined up, so let's go ahead and get to it. You guys have heard me ramble enough. All right, welcome to the show, the homie Les. Les is one of the hosts of the Morris and Jerome Show, host alongside Donte. You guys can find that on iTunes. What's going on, Les?
What's good, man? Another day. Can't complain.
Another day, another dollar, huh?
Yep. Sun is shining, so.
That's what's up, man. I was actually out in the sun earlier. I was like, you know what? Today is a really good day. Like, it's the sun is shining, it's bright, and you know what I didn't see? I didn't see not one kid in the neighborhood throwing a football outside.
Oh man, yeah, it's a different day. Like we used to back in, like, I mean, we're about around the same age. We used to live for days like this, like just to be outside and just run. You just outside and you come in for like a little lunch break and then go back out to that joint, and you was out there till the street lights went off. So
man, what? Well,
yeah, you wasn't trying to be inside. You hated being inside.
Right. I mean, you know what? Inside was cool for that 2 or 3 minutes you had to go to the bathroom and the air conditioner was on, or you was going inside to get you some freeze pop. Do kids even still have freeze pops? Do they understand how major freeze pops was?
That was them joints, and you listen to for the bomb pop man outside. Like I used to hate. We'll get into that, of course, later, like as far as like the sheltering that I had, but like it was crazy because my parents, for whatever reason, like whenever they took a nap, they wouldn't let us go outside. So like my friends would come by and be like, "Can y'all come outside?" I was like, "Nah, I gotta wait till my parents wake up." So it was like I used to hate being inside.
And I bet your parents used to sleep a lot, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they would take that, regular nap because, of course, they, my dad, he worked, mom was going to school and work and stuff like that. So they take their Sunday nap or something like that after church. And it's like, all right, that time, it was just time to chill. And it's like, all right, got to wait till they get up and then I can go outside. So yeah.
My mom used to have she used to kind of have a little piece of that in her. I don't know if it was just because she would be asleep or nothing. I just think that for whatever reason, there was just times she just didn't want me outside. And it's not that I'd been in trouble or anything, but Pops kind of cleared all that up. He was like, yo, let him go outside. He's good. He'll be fine. Yeah. If something happened, he'll come home. And it's like, we had a huge neighborhood. So no matter where I was in the neighborhood, if my mom came outside and called me, no matter where I was, I heard it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's crazy. So
that's what's up, man. Yeah, kids don't know nothing about that, man. They need to start taking their ass outside, going outside playing. I mean, just running around doing everything, man. Those are the times, man. But that was kind of heartbreaking. So are you originally from St. Louis?
Yeah, I'm St. Louis. Well, pretty much born and mostly raised. Like, my dad was in the army, so it right around the time I forgot when he went back in because he went in, then got out, and then had me, and then like he was like, all right, which I'll just go back in the army. So he went in. So I moved around a lot as a kid. So just like I lived like I remember early, like I started out. We moved down to Fort Hood, Texas, and then right after that, lived out in Germany for like a few years. And then right after that, moved right back to Texas. And then once my dad got out, made the decision. It was like, all right, let's move back to St. Louis, since that's where most of my mom's people at and stuff like that. So pretty much all the way from I moved back right around '93 was when the flood was going down. So if anybody remember that, like that's when the big flood was happening in St. Louis, and was up from '93 all the way till I left for the army in like '05.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. You all right? So from '93 to '05, you moved back to St. Louis in '05.
Yeah, I was living in St. Louis all the way, through middle, like yeah, elementary school, late elementary school, middle, and then high school, and then a little bit of college. So yeah, and then of course those formative adult years.
So when you have a parent that's in the army, I always hear them moving around a lot. It seemed like for the better part of your adolescent years, you guys were pretty stable. How common is that?
It's it what as far as what in the army,
Yeah,
in the military
being in
period.
one place for that long.
It's they like back then, of course you was kind of like ripping and running stuff like that, so we was like at a place no more than maybe 2 or 3 years, and then of course on top of that all your friends were in the army too, so it's all like they was moving, so like you had to really learn how to adjust and make friends. I think that really helped like later in life, like with me being able to just pick up a conversation with anybody, like all right, not enforcing on them per se, if that makes any sense. But if there's something to talk about, like, all right, I can just hop right in and be able to like build networks and build friendships with people. So
Yeah.
that's what you had to do. You kind of had to learn that early, or you were just gonna go through life like not knowing anybody. So I mean, that's not the way you want to live when you're a kid, especially.
That makes sense because now that I think about it, everybody that I know that were either in the army or their parents were in the army, they are very personable people, and that kind of makes sense. Tell me a little bit about what you remember about being in Germany.
Oh man, cause I got to Germany. It's funny. It's like it's a funny story behind it. It was like one of my earliest memories, like living over there right around. I was like 3, 4 when we moved over there.
Uh-huh.
So we lived, of course they closed the base now, but it was Nuremberg, Germany. And I think just remembering the smell of it is just kind of a different smell. And I'll never forget, like when I moved, of course later I ended up moving back there in like '06. So that smell is all like I just remember it. I remember just the people were different and just like almost nicer per se. And then of course just the traveling. My parents they definitely my mom, she believed in getting out and traveling and stuff like that. So we would take road trips. Like we would go on road trips. I remember Switzerland, Holland, seeing the salt mines, stuff like that. And of course, we had the school that I went to. They made us learn like basic German and stuff like that. So it was a very well-rounded kind of upbringing living over there. I mean, I loved it. It's like peaceful. Like if I can, when it comes about retirement, if I could just like, or even just live a few more years over there, because it's just really, really relaxing. They're not really money hungry over there. It's like it's chill. So I mean, I loved it, especially when I was a kid over there.
Tell me about the smell. Kind of describe it.
It's one of the things that's hard to describe. It's like it's a very especially down there Nuremberg.
Is it foul?
And what? No, it's more clean because the area is
okay.
a country area in Bavaria, so it's like a lot of farming over there, and it's like you smell the food. I just almost think almost every city or populace has a different kind of smell, and I'm pretty sure I've never been to New York, but like people kind of say that area like certain parts stink and stuff like that. but it's like it's just different. Like, of course, when I lived down this out in like Tacoma, Seattle area, like it just smells so clean. And I would say the same thing about Germany, like, and especially the food. And you could smell the food, the beer out there. It was just like it's just a distinct smell that, like, when you go back, it's like, all right, I remember this smell.
Was it? It was like that. So when you went back, the smell was still there.
Yeah, it was the exact same. Like that was, I never forget. Like I got off that plane, you know, and I just like after years, because when I left Germany. We left Germany in '88, and I ended up moving back there in 2006. And to remember, you know, that distinct smell, it's just crazy how our mind works with the condition and stuff we remember over time.
Well, yeah, because you know the sense of smell is the strongest sense tied to memory.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I'm fascinated by the clean smell that they have, because when I think about Germany, and I mean I've never been, but when I think about Germany, I think about a lot of industry and industrial type things, and you're saying, and so as such, I'm not saying that I'm thinking as this a foul smell, but I certainly wouldn't think that, you know, it's this purified smell
it's out there, but I mean, you just got to think, of course, too, like certain parts of the United States are like really industrialized and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you go out to like a middle of nowhere, Kansas, and it's all like, you're not going to have that. So it's going to smell different, and it's going to kind of feel a different feel to it. So it's not going to feel as busy. So that's kind of how it was in Germany. Like it just didn't feel as busy.
How different was Germany when you went back?
When I went back, like it was, because of course we were in, like, Nuremberg was the city. So like when I moved back there, we were out there. They moved my whole unit up there when I was in the Army, of course, and we was out there in the Vilseck, Grafenwehr, Hornsville area. So if anybody want to kind of Google that or whatever, that was the same area that Hitler trained all his troops. So it's like we took that area over. And if, like, it's funny, we said, like, if they close any other base in Germany down, like that one in Grafenwehr, that ain't closing down, because that's where they do a lot of the training. So, of course, I moved there, I would want to say like my early 20s, like 23, 24. So I didn't do as much traveling as I should have, because I was, for the lack of a better word, I was kind of the height of my whole years per se. And I used to always tell my especially my black soldiers to go to Germany, because the best example that I could say, like, being a black man in Germany is like being Shamu at SeaWorld. And then it's all right. Then when you move back to the States, it's like, all right, now you got to go back to the wild. It's all like, all right, I got to fend for myself. So it was crazy. I loved it. I loved it over there. The experience, just the camaraderie that we had, as far as, of course, in the Army over there. And it was just like, everything that I could get out of my system that a lot of guys say, oh, I wish I could do this and that, I pretty much got it out over there in Germany, whether it was like drinking, fucking, or whatever, just living life. Like there was I got so many stories, and me waking up in my bathtub, like it was just, or strange areas. It was wild. Like I had a lot of fun. So
black people or black men, we're rock stars in Germany.
Oh yeah, it's funny because like Patrice ONeal said it, and for any dude that needs like kind of a little bit, not necessarily guidance, but kind of understand a lot how to operate as a man and how to operate with women, I would highly suggest you go and listen to Patrice ONeal's interview on the Juan Epstein podcast. Like you can Google it, look it up. But for pretty much, he was saying that like over there, we're black men, we're like Superman was here in the world, and whereas like back here, that's he pretty much put there, and then back like in like if we come back to the States and stuff like that, we're just like how Superman was on Krypton. Be like, oh, okay, all right, well,
basic
hey, shawty, I could fly, and she's like, oh, I can fly too. Whereas over there, like in Germany, it's like they appreciate your black. Like they love. Like I'll never forget. Like one chick, she was all like I straight up, I just like your skin, and I was like, that kind of fucked me up at the time. It was crazy over there because, of course, me being light skinned or whatever, like I had to do a little bit of work. Like, I had to say my name and stuff like that, and have a little conversation. Like I'm telling you, I had partners that was like Flavor Flav looking, and they was doing numbers like ridiculous.
Wow.
So it's just that's why I see those conversations on Twitter when dudes be talking and stuff like that. I'm be like, man, you just ain't lived enough, bro. Like you just you know. Like I said, we said on the show before, it's like on the last one, it's like you gotta womanize before you generalize. And once again, taking that from Patrice ONeal, like you have to you have to experience a lot of women and understand what they all do, so you can kind of make general statements. Because we all almost pretty much do the same things. We just do things differently. We all out here working. We trying to make a living and stuff like that. We all have emotions, and we just out here living life. And once people kind of understand that, then you can kind of somewhat remove a lot of these ignorant stereotypes that people have.
Right.
Because like, I'm black, white dude. He's just trying to, put food on the table for his kids, like I am. So it's all like, there's no need to be like, oh, okay, well, it's just you don't need to treat each other like the boogeyman.
Exactly. So. Like you can't have. And when we say experience, when we don't necessarily always mean having had sex with them, but you can't have just
even just sitting down. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Simply just sitting there having a talk with somebody. Like it's funny because like even on my show it was all like before we had XD from Two Guys and a Girl podcast, and then Jay Williams TV, and XD he's a gay black man, and then Jay Williams he's bisexual, and it's like, and then talking to the other women as well, and I was like, we all have the same struggles. If you're single out here dating, it's all, it don't matter, your skin tone or your sexuality. It's like people really need to get out of that whole thinking things have to be one way when there's multiple ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't have just spent time or experienced or dealt with just a couple of women and then be like they all are like this. Like no, maybe that's your fucked up pool you pulled from.
Yeah. Look at yourself, bro.
Exactly. Whenever I hear that with men or women about all women are like this or all dudes are like this and that from this particular area, then I kind of inquire and ask them like, so how many of them, have you, just everyone that I pulled? And I was like, everyone? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, if it's every one of them that you pulled, at what point does personal responsibility come into play?
Yeah.
Because you aren't the only person that's having this issue, and some other have found success. Perhaps maybe it's the pool that you're pulling from, and they never want to accept that. Like, no, these people.
Nobody wants to take personal accountability. Like it's a lost art. It really is. Like even when I hear apologies, like sports, when people fuck up or say some wrong stuff, it's all like they was like, I'm like, no, stand behind your words. Like this is your word. This is your bond. I think that's like the basic foundation of adulthood, and especially with men. Like I think a lot of men have a problem with that, like taking personal accountability, because we don't like to be called out on our shit, and it's like we need to be called out a lot sometimes, and then we need to look at it like, all right, damn, I fucked up, man, how can I move forward from this, instead of blaming everything else on everybody else.
What I hate is when someone goes to apologize and they'll say their apology and it'll say something to the effect of, they'll say, I'm sorry, but. It's like there is no but. Like if you like when you apologize, that should be the last thing you say in the sentence. The second you say anything else after I'm sorry, or the second you say I'm sorry, but you're about to fuck up the apology and invalidate it. I don't care what it is. Like I'm apologizing, but I'm still going to. I feel like I still need to plead my case. No, if there's anything you need to say and acknowledge of any wrongdoing or whatever the case or what have you, you say that before the apology. Once you get to the apology, that's that. It's for that. For the person that you're apologizing to decide whether they're going to accept it or not. And if they don't accept it, that's well within their rights. You know what I'm saying? People think when you apologize about something, oh, that should absolve me for all my wrongdoing. No, that's just acknowledging that you fucked up.
Yeah, you gotta acknowledge it, tweet through it, and keep it moving, bro.
So let me take it back to Germany one time. You said that you guys were practicing and training where Hitler trained his troops.
Yeah.
How was that for you mentally, or any of your or people, any of your soldiers with you mentally? How was that?
I don't think like we really put much stock into it just because of like I guess we have been there for so long, or like the troops have been there like of course since after World War II. So we was just like I think I enjoyed it because of where I was per se. Of course, I was in artillery and field artillery. Of course, field's in the name, so we stayed out in the field. And if anybody don't know what that is, it's just like a week long camping trip. Just you out there playing soldiers and shit like that. But I mean, and of course, luckily where I was, we were right next to the training area, so we only had to go out maybe a week, at the most 2 weeks at a time. Versus people that were on the other side of Germany and stuff like that, they had to be there for a month. So you would like just when you were tired of being out there, all right, it was time to go home. So we really enjoyed that pretty much as far as like, all right, cool, we out here playing soldier, we getting dirty, we getting, musty and stuff like that. So yeah.
When you guys weren't in the field, what was your job?
In Germany, I was an E. Let me see. I started out as an E3, and then when I left there, I was a sergeant. So it's like a E3 is a private first class. So I'm over there, just training. Like you do a lot of training, because the main thing you want to be able to do is muscle memory. So you want to go through and of course, being artillery, you want to be able to get that round out as fast and as safe as possible. So, so you get called for fire, all your fire commands and stuff like that, and you're on it. It's like you're a well-oiled machine. So you out there, you busting, and it's a lot of communication and stuff like that. You got to be real tight with your crew. I think that's what's missing out here. And I think that's part of like with my transition. It was like, it wasn't no cruise like when you're working with people, but with that it's like of course I was under people, so I was you're taking orders from your sergeant, so I'm like that's why I learned to be able to take commands and stuff like that. And I learned at early on that they might tell you some wild shit. Like they're gonna tell you that's the whole basis of being starting out. Like they break you down, build you back up, almost on some pimp shit. Like the army is some pimps. Like they really get into that. So I mean, you had all that, and then of course, like about a year before I left, like I got about the time I got back from Iraq. Like I got promoted to sergeant, so like I'm leading soldiers and stuff like that. So I'm falling in that role as like big brother, counselor, like financial advisor, like marriage counselor and stuff like that. So it's just all that. It's like you're training, you're getting ready to go to war, and stuff like that. And it's just it's fun. Like it's really like a lot of stuff I don't miss. Like a lot of waking up at like 4 ass crack of dawn, 4 in the morning. Sometimes you running 6. Like we running like 20 miles a week, which was, I'm kind of missing now because I, was able to stay in shape. But then it's like, you go through and then, what was I about to say? You run 20 miles a week and then, man, I totally was forgetting what I was about to say. But yeah, it was just a bunch of training. That's all that pretty much was. So
what made you go into the Army in the first place?
Pretty much I had bills. Like, keeping it 100. Like I had, at the time I had 2, like of course I had 3 other mouths I need to feed. So, I had been working, Dad had not been working, out. I remember I had applied to the St. Louis Police Department, back home. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then, of course, I got my rejection letter, and I was like, man, this is, and I was like, damn, I put my eggs in that one. That ain't working out. And then everything else wasn't working, basically. So that, on top of having mouths to feed, I remember I had a cavity in my wisdom tooth, and like I couldn't afford to even get that thing pulled out. And I was like, you know what, this ain't working. Like the Army worked out for my dad, the Army worked out for his father before him. I was like, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna do the same shit. So I was like, hey, I just went in. I was probably one of the easiest recruits out there. Like I just walked right in. I was like, hey, let me let me, see what you got. And I thought at first I thought I was going to be an MP because I thought military police. So I thought law enforcement was what I was going to do, like go in. But then they were talking like a 5-year enlistment, and I was like, I ain't trying to do it for that damn long. Like, give me like 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. So they're all right. We ran through. I walked through the videos. Artillery was one of the things. Like, it wasn't infantry. I was not trying to be in there on the front lines, kicking in doors and stuff like that. So I was like, give me some shit in the back, but still kind of like really soldier-like. So it was like, all right, artillery. So, which is funny because later I ended up doing all the infantry shit. But yeah, I was signed up and they had me shipped off a week and a half later, and that was all she wrote.
What was the worst part about being in the Army, other than having to get up early in the morning?
That was about, like, I am not a morning person. So
you and me both, bro.
Waking up at like, and it wasn't like waking up at like 7 or 6. It was waking up at like 4. That just sometimes just being away for a lot of time, for a lot of stuff. Like I missed a few missed birthdays, Christmases, just being away from family and having to go to the field for like a month at a time and stuff like that. It puts a strain on any kind of family environment that you might have, and stuff like that. So it really I want to say that was about it. Like, I think that was the worst. And then just sometimes dealing with people that really didn't want to cooperate. Like you'll deal with a lot of dumb shit, like in the Army, like just stuff that doesn't make sense. And then you might have people over you that are like what the hell, why are they even in charge and stuff like that? And you can't say nothing because there will be consequences to your action if you're insubordinate or whatever. So sometimes it's a lot of just going along with the flow and doing what you're told. So
okay, cool. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the Morris and Jerome Show. Tell us about the Morris and Jerome Show. If there anyone that's listening that's never heard it, what do you want them to know about it? Tell us the synopsis and everything behind that.
Man, it's definitely a passion of the heart. And that's what it kind of has to be for you to like do a podcast like weekly, week in and week out, because it's all like it's like, especially if you're not at the top of the crop, like a lot of the podcasts in there, like we ain't getting paid for this shit. Like
we coming though, we coming.
Yeah, we coming. Yeah, we slowly. It's a mixtape grind, man. But I like to talk about like real life relationship stuff, real life stuff that people, because I notice on Twitter, like nobody really talks about real life. It's like the same subjects, like really, really recycled. Like it's almost, you could read the Twitter tea leaves. Like I remember like when Nipsey Hussle made his dumbass comments, I was like, all right, he's gonna diss black women, and okay, all right, there's gonna be outrage, and then right after that, we're gonna have black woman appreciation. But I was like, why aren't we talking about why black men diss black women? Like, why aren't we talking about stuff like that, where we go back to the plantation where, you had the black men that couldn't defend his black woman, or we've been separated since we got off the boat, and there's that real discourse. So, like, that's the kind of stuff that I do talk about my show, like real life relationship, like shit, like, of course, when I see on Twitter when people are like, oh, if my woman cheats on me, like, that's it, I'm leaving. I'm like, nigga, no, you're not.
It's really never that easy.
It's never that easy, right, bro. Like,
it sound good, but nah.
Yeah, we always we always front too much on the timeline, like this. And I take away that on the show. I really try to talk to get their experiences, any insight that they can have, like really things that I feel like people should know. I'm either going to talk about it or I'm going to pull from somebody that knows some stuff. Like we had a financial literacy segment, and a lot of people don't know about financial literacy. And then of course we had one of my personal favorite episodes was with my partner Amaya. He's a foster parent. So, like, a lot of black people don't talk about foster parenting, and he was really going into what a lot of these kids are going through the system, because, like, once again, people don't talk about those type of things. So, anything that I can put out there, and especially like real kind of relationship stuff. Both, it's funny how Donte and I kind of came across. We met up through a mutual friend through the timeline, and we have both been through some real real fucked up marriages, and because we had once again we got married young. He got married at like 22. My dumb ass got married at 19. So it's funny because I want to like there's not a day. Sometimes there's days I'd be like want to go back and slap 19-year-old me, but kind of the stuff that you learn from all that. So we just got together and it was like we had very similar stories. And I was like in the car one day and I was driving and I was listening to other podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts for a minute, and anytime anytime I say that I can do something, like, oh, I could do that, then I'm like, then I'm going to try to go out there and do it myself.
Absolutely, not only try to do it, but try to be better at it.
Yeah, try to be better, and so that's why I was like, hey, got a hold of him, and I was like, hey, man, here's the idea, here's the premise, here's the kind of play on words with Morris and Jerome. Morris day and the time, like Morris being light skinned, Jerome being dark skinned, and kind of how they had that whole dynamic working with each other, and the rest is history. So we're like 36 weeks strong. So
that's dope. Because my next question was going to be, how did you come up with the name, the Morris and Jerome Show? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really because like once again being sheltered, like I grew up listening, like I wasn't allowed, like I had to go and sneak and listen to rap, like, and so I had to go back and I listened to a lot of old school music. So just like I'm definitely a huge Prince fan, and then like just coming out of Prince, you had Morris Day and the Time, and like I just I was like, of course, in music and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, just try to make it work. So yeah.
All right, cool. So let's hear a little clip of the Morris and Jerome Show.
I can't speak on it, but I think it's cool as long as as long as it's healthy beef, like you said, ain't no personal stuff where it's, I don't know, where folks start really taking words to heart, of rappers and trying to kill whatever, all that crap. Then I think it's all good. I mean, it is what it is. These guys are competitors too, so ain't no different than the Heat and the Lakers or whatever, Cavs, somebody, competing against each other, beefing. So it's all good. All good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm pretty sure Meek thought that he was going to get the same non-response that Wale gave him for not tweeting out his album. So and Drake will step to you. Like, I respect him for that. He might not have said things to other people that might have called him out a little bit, but he definitely he's taking this one to heart. So
now, I tell you, I will say this, and then I'm done. I do like some of Drake's earlier works, quote unquote earlier works, I guess, that when he first got into the game as far as being on stage. But I will say this, his voice is very annoying to me now. So if ironically, I just got in the car about an hour ago at the office, and as soon as I turned on the radio, or as soon as the car came on, he was rapping. I had to turn it off. So I got a lot of enemies.
Yeah, he do got that kind of nasal voice.
I can't take it. I cannot take it. Like, as soon as he said, got a lot of enemies, I turned it right off. I just hit the button. I said, no. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why. His voice just gotten annoying to me all of a sudden. And that's the whole thing about it. I was like, rappers these days, a lot of them, they got these high-pitched or nasally voices. I was like, back in the day, you sounded like a man, rapping like a man.
The Big Daddy Kane and Biggie. Yeah.
Now I don't know what's going on, so but it's all good. All good.
Yeah.
All right. So here's one of the things that caught me about the Morris and Jerome Show. I remember when I was looking for it on iTunes was, and to some it may be a small thing, but I really pay attention to stuff like this. The cover art for the Morris and Jerome Show. I think your cover art is so dope. Like it looks really official. Like, it looks like we're about to pick up a book. It looks like a book cover. I like it though. Like, it's dope. I
appreciate it, man.
I was like, look at these cats.
Yeah, I appreciate it because we were going through that whole process. I was like, I thought I was gonna go, and of course, looking like other people's stuff like that. I was like kind of looking, and I was like, you know what? Let me not look at nobody else's. Like, let's try to think of something else. So I was just all like, man, Donte, just make it happen. Because like I know, if I'm not good at something, then I'll just reach out to somebody else. And it's like I almost thought about trying to holler at one of my graphic design people, whatever. And they was talking money, and I'm all like, all right, we already put in enough money trying to just to host the show. Like, that's
right,
a monthly bill, and I'm trying to keep the cost low as hell. So I was like, let's keep this in house. And I shot it. I was like, hey, Donte, shoot me what you got. And he shot me, and because originally the image was gonna be Morris, and Jerome and stuff like that, and it was all like. Then I remember, copywriting stuff like that, where you don't own the picture, and
Right.
I'm not trying to, it'd be that random person that like that's mine, and it'll be a big deal. So it was like, he threw it on there, and it was. Oh, he shot it to me. He was like, he didn't like it. I was like, I love it. It's gonna work. Like it's nice and simple. You still have Morris Day and Jerome in the background, like kind of faded in the back, and it's gonna work. And he threw it on there, and it was like, all right, there we go. And I almost thought about asking for people to like, all right, shoot right in. I'm like, no, we just it's worked for this long. We might as well keep it running. So yeah, everything that we could do in house, like keep costs low, like the website and stuff like that. I did that. That shout out to the folks at Squarespace. Maybe they'll shoot me a little some sponsorship, like just using them and stuff like that. It's like it's amazing what you can, and it's amazing what you could do when like you put your mind to it and you got Google. Like
Yeah.
it's like we are really forcing, like we got like you got the internet, so there's no reason like between Google, like people on Twitter that you can ask questions. I had no problem asking people stuff. Like what's the worst they're gonna say? No. Like
Exactly.
that stops a lot of people from doing shit like that. They're afraid to be told no. Like
Right. It's like what if they say yeah?
Yeah, what did they say yes? So yeah.
Cool.
So that was the best advice I learned from one of my gunnery sergeants when I was in the Army. Like he's like, when it comes to sexual related activities, I gotta put that out there. Folks will learn to spin it. But he was like, don't take no for an answer. Like when you're out here in your career or just trying to do things with your life, like don't take no as an answer. So just keep moving until somebody tells you yes.
That's good. That's dope. Let me see how. So with the show, and you guys were developing. How long were you guys developing it before your first episode actually came out?
Man, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put the whole timeline together because I remember it was like I want to say it was a few weeks because of course I only gave myself 2 weeks because I have a real big problem of I'll have an idea, and if I don't get right to it and start working on it, then I'm like, fuck it.
It'll fade away.
It'll fade away. Like, so that's why I was like, I gave myself a deadline. I was like, bro, you got 2 weeks to figure out what equipment you were gonna use, how you were gonna record this thing, how were you gonna, the subject matter and stuff like that, and make it happen. So it's like, and it's still a work in progress. Like we still, we have kinks. I just got some new equipment, but I mean, I was getting away from the question, but yeah, it's that. I hate listening to them early episodes because I'm all like, and like we said, it's almost like the mixtape grind. I'm pretty sure like a lot of cats they listen to their early works. Like it's like I hate this shit.
Man,
but
listen to me. My first episode of this show, it was a great interview. Shout out to Smooth Orator for being Garfield for being my first guest, but I want to go back and listen to it, but it's hard because let me tell you what I did. First of all, I recorded it raw and then just put it up.
Yes, the same thing.
There was
raw,
no editing.
No editing.
I was laughing into the mic. There was all kinds of reverb that was happening because I did it in an open room. Like the best part of that I think was done about it was probably the intro.
Yeah.
So, but you know what though? What I like about it is people, and someone actually told me about this the other day. They were saying they were going back and listening to every episode, and it gets better and better with each episode. So if you've been listening to it that long, I want you to be a part of that growth and hear where it's come from. Like now, I think I kind of got at least the volume control under control. You know what I mean?
That was the hard, like trying to, and even then, like just trying to play around with all that, and it's like learning different things. It's almost like just learning different stuff, and it's all like, and I learned too is like the growth doesn't happen overnight because like it was, I don't know why I lied to myself. I thought the first time that we had Fonte from Foreign Exchange, just like a humble brag or whatever.
Shout out
the first
to Fonte,
time we had him,
little brother.
Yeah. Yeah, little brother fame. Like I thought, I was like, we're gonna blow. Like we're gonna get all the downloads, and it's like, oh, we only got like an extra 200 for that episode. So, like, it's like, oh, so and then it's just like just trying to find stuff that works. It's like trying not to steal nobody's shit or trying to sound too much like that. And it's funny. It's funny because it's all like just trying to because my Twitter persona, like I can come off like real funny sometimes, but that doesn't always translate into regular all the time conversation.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna be like I'm not and I'm not even gonna try. I kind of always was like it was that pressure. Like all right, nigga, try to say something funny, and
Right.
it's just like
It's not, and
the
you
type
can't
of,
do that.
Yeah, and the type of show that it is. It's not like you're out here like we're not shooting the shit with each other like them regular conversations you have with your partners and stuff like that about how you was smashing Lorraine last week or something like that. It's not that type of conversation. So it's like it's really heavy subject matter. So it's almost got to think about it. So you got to kind of that fine balance. And I'm finally getting there. So it's very enjoyable. Like I've learned from the guests that we've had on the show about a lot of stuff, like a lot of things that we cover, and I shout out to them. So
yeah, same thing with me. Like that's one of the reasons why I love doing this, because I tell everybody the reason why I do it is because everybody has a story, and what's the magic is helping people realize that story that they don't even know that they have and that they want to tell. Like I think it was something small, but I remember a few weeks ago I was interviewing my friend Greg, and towards the end, come to find out he's basically a fashion designer. You know what I mean? And that's something that's never come up in conversation, and we've never talked. I was like, what? Like what? And it could just be just that random question that you asked them that just opens up that gate, and people just come out, and it's real humbling that people feel comfortable to even share some of their dark moments with me, not just me, but with everybody, because, it's a podcast for the public. So
yeah, and that's one of the things too, like I had to learn too. I was like, of course, same thing, putting stuff out there. And because, Twitter, they'll find some stuff from years ago and they try to dog you for it. But I'm like, sometimes, especially when people like try to come at me, and I think the best lesson that my father taught me was, you have a name, you are who you are, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. So that's how I kind of operated, throughout my whole life. And then two, it's all like after you've been shot at and almost, blown up, killed a few times in war, it's like this shit that people say. It's all like, all right.
Bro, I just had a missiles thrown at me. The little shit you just said ain't about a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not. I always feel like the people that have gone through a lot of stuff, they don't trip off the little things, which, of course, that's always kind of important to not to really get worked up about a little, the things and bumps of the roads in life. But yeah.
What are some of your favorite moments from the show?
Definitely my proudest moment, I guess it would be, of course, getting Fonte, kind of working that. Kind of network and relationship, just kind of him reaching out and saying, I enjoy, just imagine like somebody who you look up to, because like Little Brother, like I listen to their music like back.
I still listen to it.
Yeah, still, and that's their music spoke to me. So like Fonte saying like this is the kind of stuff that people need to hear. And then just going from that and just having, him reach out. I'm like reaching out and like, hey, would you mind? He's like, saying yes, and having him on there. Just, the people that have spoke about, of course, Amaya, I'm going to mess up his Twitter handle. It's like Train 5879, I think. I probably messed the numbers up, but I got for the most part. But it's a real cool cat out of St. Louis. And him talking about being a foster parent and how him and his wife came to that decision of like, all right, maybe we should foster some kids before we have our own, to see if we can really deal with this and just learn it from all that. And then just the funny stuff like people have talked about, like just I think we had one cat is I can't remember. I think Dr. Jack McGraw, PhD, and stuff like that. He was just talking about the whole reason why men might not approach women, and this like just still kind of stuff. People don't think about that, and just different nuances that people talk about. Like I try to really push the envelope a little bit, especially when I was doing that with XD Xavier, because of course a lot of just that whole thing where it's like how straight people are not really accepting of homosexuality, right now. And I'm like, they're people just like we are. Exactly. Like, that's it. That's all they are. So I just really try to engage with him and just show that all right, you out here trying to make it just like I am. You just happen to like something that I I'm not sexually attracted to, and that's the only difference. Like that's it. There's no reason for me to be out here hating and bashing and be scared that like my kid's gonna be gay. Like if you're around them or something like that, like it's not like that. So I think just trying to push the envelope with that experience and stuff like that. So it's all like that's how I kind of try to, that's what I really am proud about, and just people saying like, saying, hey, I got something from this. Like not necessarily. I mean, the comments are nice and stuff like that, the ratings and reviews, but just for one person to say like I it's almost like being in church. Like I received that word that day. So,
exactly.
So yeah.
I want to get dude's name right. I'm looking him up on Twitter. Is it Train 5829?
Or 79. I gotta go look it up.
What does his Abby look like? Is it
Man, he constantly changes it, so I can't even pull it up. It's like it's gonna mess with me. I want to say it's Train 5879. I wish I had my computer in front of me, but I could pull it right up. But yeah,
I hope it is 5879, because whoever 5829 is has me blocked apparently.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't. And I don't think he did.
If it is him, just kindly ask him.
I would definitely
ask him what's the deal. What's the business with that?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's probably not even him or whatever. But I would definitely link you up with him because he's definitely a good one. You probably want to talk to because, like I said, he had a very powerful story as far as just the kids coming up through the foster and the system. It almost got dusty in that joint. Like I was like, is my eyes? And even speaking of which, we had a few episodes ago, Kaya was a young lady out of St. Louis where she was talking about her cancer, and I'm all like, man, like when you think you're going through something, there's somebody out there that's fighting the battle like 20 times harder than you. So she's on her like third bout with cancer, and so like, man, I was like, is it somebody turn the heat on here?
Actually, I want to reach out to her because there's a few people that I know that have gotten past cancer, are still dealing with cancer, and I like to do these roundtable episodes every so often, and I think I want to have like 2 or 3 of them together. The homie Nico, Abbas, definitely want to have her, and I think I'm gonna reach out to her and do that. But yeah, the homie Train, I'd love to interview him. Just tell him not to block me. Ask him what I did to him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not even. I'm trying to think. Like, I'll look it up. I wouldn't be surprised because you random. Like sometimes you just go on these. Like me, my block button is strong. Like I just don't got time to entertain.
Man, listen, I don't remember talking to
because I'll have, and it's funny you had like smoother. I would love, like I just want to have a conversation with him because I don't necessarily agree with a lot of stuff that he be saying, and it's all like, but yeah, I feel like if we have like sit down and talk to men, it's all like it's a little bit different, But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Like as soon as people start, cursing and trying to call you out your name and stuff like that, I'm like, you just totally, kind of fuck shit up with this conversation. So I just gotta hit this block button.
I'm messing around. I said I ain't never cursed at him, but. Hey, is he from St. Louis?
Yeah, he's from St. Louis.
Let me tell you, man, that's definitely this dude because I looked at him. I just looked him up from the show's account. Yeah, that's definitely him. That's definitely got me blocked.
Yeah, that's probably by accident. You never know.
Set up a meeting, man, so we can discuss this block issue.
Yeah, I got you. It was probably by mistake. Like I blocked. It's funny too because I think I almost hate to say it, but I had DeRay blocked. I think I was going, I don't know what, just maybe a lot of drinking and stuff like that or whatever. But just, I was like, why do I have this dude blocked? So I, unblocked him and, we'd be able to, chop it up, here and there. And hopefully I can get him on the show because
I think I want to interview him also. Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to be able to just have him tell his story as far as, a lot of, just the struggle. Because I think a lot of people don't get what's going on, especially the 1 year anniversary of Mike Brown passing. That was like 10 minutes away from where I grew up. So it was crazy and just all that stuff. How people and like he'll retweet some stuff that I had to say. I remember the whole picture on Stone Mountain with the Confederate flag rally. Like I tweeted, like I just showed it was a dude. He was like looked like he was reaching for his gun. And the cop was like looking like, hold on, don't do that. And I was just saying, I was like, this is white privilege in a picture, like one picture. This is white privilege.
Exactly.
And like people were saying, no, and it's like all these conservatives and stuff hopping my mentions. And I don't go back and forth with them because after a while you just get a headache. But I'm just like, this is things that they can do that we as black people can't do. It's like, no matter how we try, it's like we've got to. It's a slow. Everything that we try to get is an accomplishment. Like the fact that we had a black president, that was accomplished for us. I was like, they had white presidents since day one. Like just being able to like do the things that they're doing.
And they tried to take that from us. That he was black. Like,
and I tell anybody, like, and especially when it comes to privilege and stuff like that, it's like anything that you haven't, that you enjoy, that you never had to fight for, that's like a privilege, man. It's like why you out here dogging women out and stuff like that? Like they got the right to vote after we did, after us men did. So kind of after black people, black men did. So it's like you gotta folks gotta really kind of look back and kind of understand what people are going through, and not always try to argue down folks with stuff. It's like, come on, it's like almost like we always say, like, who hurt you? Like, why are you really mad about this?
Right. You mentioned Stone Mountain. What brought you to Atlanta? How did you find Atlanta?
That's a funny story.
All right, we got time.
Oh man, we got and this being a little shit. Let me see. I got out the Army in 2013, so and it's crazy. Like I did everything that you're not supposed to do when you get out the Army. Like I got out. I think I had 6 months left on my contract, and I just said, "That's it. I'm done." Like I had went home back to St. Louis and been around my kids, and like they had grown up a little bit, and I was like, damn, I missed out on so much shit. Like, cause I left home when they were about 3. My oldest was 3, my daughter was 2, and as of course, like me getting back, like they were about 11 at the time. And I was like, man, I missed out on all this. So I was like, I decided, let me get out. My situation with my ex, like, is not, keeping 100 is not the best. Like we, of course, when you get married young like that and you just go through all the tumultuous things, the fights, the knockdown, drag out fights, the cheating, the infidelity, all the stuff, the real shit that goes on with some relationships when you have no business being together, that kind of makes, people bitter or scorned or whatever, or still a little bit hurt. So I would say she holds on to a little bit more than I. Kind of moved on a lot, but she still has a lot of angst towards me, so like our relationship isn't good. So it's like I'm slowly working on that. So I was like, I was trying to move back home to be closer to them, but just being us not being cool, like I didn't know, like I had to find where my kids were. And I really didn't even find them till after I moved. But 6 months in, like I get back to St. Louis, and like I love my city to death. Like that's you talk about St. Louis on the timeline. Like I'm gonna come. Like I'm gonna make your mentions like live in hell for about 3 tweets. So like don't like I would say don't dog my city. Like it's just because like it's a real tight city. A lot of us know each other. Like especially in passing and stuff like that. So like, but at the same time, like the city that you grew up in, and then once you leave that city, it's all like you come back and it's all like you almost feel stuck. So that's what I was doing. I was feeling stuck. Like I moved back. I was living with my grandma for a minute because I just needed to get, I got out. I didn't have a lot of money when I got out. So I was like, let me, stay with her, wait for all my benefits to kick in. Went to school for like a semester down there. And once all that stuff kicked in, I had plenty of money. It's funny, like after all my benefits, I had enough. I was making more than I was when I was in the Army. So I was like, all right, shit. So I had been talking to a young lady for a minute. Like we had known each other for like a good, like when I was in Germany. So like from like 2008 or whatever. So I was all like, it was probably one of the smartest moves. But I was like, hey, I'm just not like I'm quitting no job. Not like I'm like or whatever. And then at the same time, like I love the South. I grew up on down south music, Outkast, Goody Mob, everybody out the dungeon, like all that stuff. So I was like, hey, fuck it, let me go down here, move down to Atlanta. So if shit don't work out with her, I mean, I could still make it down here. So she packed up all my stuff, threw it in the U-Haul, drove. Me and my partner, we drove down to here, signed into my apartment. We went to Follies at night, and I've been I've been in Atlanta ever since. And it's like that situation didn't work out, but I mean a new situation came on. So it's everything happened for a reason. Like if things don't work out one way, as long as you keep like from Finding Nemo, as long as you keep swimming, and for the most part, you good. Like you just can't give up on shit. So yeah, I've been down here. I'm about to wrap up my degree in human services at Kennesaw State University. So
you up the street from me.
What's up?
I said you up the street from me. I live in Marietta. A lot of times
that's what's up. I'm always 75 in the morning. So.
Yeah, it is. So at Kennesaw State, are you at the main campus or are you at the campus that they just converted to Kennesaw State? I think it was Polytechnic. I forget what it was.
Yeah, it was Southern Polytechnic State is what they had. No, I'm over at the main campus. So
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You so do you live out this way? Or you commute that way every morning?
I live out in Smyrna, so it's real like in the morning at that time, like everybody's just trying to go to the city. So I'm going opposite of that. So it's all like once I get past that little janky traffic on 285, then it's a straight shot up 75. I can get to school in like about 20 minutes without a lot of struggle. So
we might have to actually link up because I live in this area. Like
that's what's up, man. Yeah, shoot, definitely.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's what's up. So you finishing up your degree in human services. That's an excellent segue to therapy. You are an avid you're an advocate for people getting therapy or seeking out therapists. Give us some background on that. Why you feel so strongly about it?
Because just definitely just going to I 2-time Iraq war veteran, of course, just dealing with that. And I remember like just going through we would actually joke about people that would go to therapy, especially because I was artillery. Like it was we were an all male unit, like really tight, really like you look at movies like Platoon and Hamburger Hill, and a lot of those war movies, stuff like that, and how the platoon, like we were tight. So we were as man, and we really couldn't. You really couldn't show no weakness. Like you might have just saw your partner like get. Like there was times, I don't know, it's always somewhat of a struggle talking about it sometimes, but you could have gone out on patrol one day and you come back and then one of the dudes you had saw like day in, day out, like he's like, oh, he didn't make it today. Like he got blown up. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that stuff, like we would joke, like, all right, we used to call like the therapists, the behavioral health people on the base, we used to call them the wizard. We were just saying like you weren't there if you didn't have a heart or courage or a brain. So like I remember I got back from Iraq the first time and like we didn't talk about nothing that we had been through. Like we was just trying to, you get back, you get debriefed, you just try to get out of that shit as quickly as possible because you weren't trying to talk to nobody for hours. Like you was trying to enjoy your personal time because like you just spent, like my first time I was over there was during the surge in 2007. So like if anybody looked that up too, like we was getting our ass whooped in Iraq, and then Bush decided like, all right, we need to have a surge and push everybody down there. So I did 15 months that first time I was over there. So it's almost like a bid because you stuck, like you can't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. So you get back and like I started noticing like changes in myself, just like really anger. I'll never forget the first because I got back the first time October 30th 2008. Yeah, 2008, I got back. And we went out like a few days later that weekend. And, I had got drunk, which is not a good thing if you dealing with PTSD. But I had got drunk and I had got, I just know that I was crying. Like I went to the bathroom, my partner's place, and I was throwing up. Was drinking too much after 15 months no drinking, like your tolerance is low, so I'm throwing up and stuff like that. And then like I'm like getting the girl I was with, she was like cleaning me up and stuff like that, but I'm just like I push her away, I'm in the bathtub and I'm crying like a baby, just wishing like I could go back, like because It's like you spent all that time over there and it's like you're coming back. Like that's one thing about being deployed too, like that's your life, like everything is like really simple, really disciplined. Like you get up, you eat, You go on patrol, you train, you lift weights, you watch a movie or whatever, and you do the same thing over and over again. So you get in a real routine, and you get back, it's like you didn't get none of that, and you get back to people that don't understand what you had just been through. So I went through going back. Of course, the situation back home with, of course, going back with my ex didn't help. It was some things that went down, and I flipped, and I was all like, and I had pushed it off and stuff like that, and then it's all like, so I just went through the motions, went on my second tour. All right, things kind of died down, no problem, and then I got back. And just kind of all the relationships that I had been dealing with, it's all like I was kind of, very angry and stuff like that. And then somebody I was dating at the time, she was like, "You need to go get help." And I was like, once again, we as men, like, we really, like, we don't think we need help. We push off a lot of it. It's all like, fuck that. I can take care of myself. But then in taking care of ourselves, we're self-medicating. Like, we're drinking, we're smoking, we're doing drugs and other stuff like that to kind of escape from the pain that we had, been dealing with. So, but she was just like, you need to get help. And so, the Army or the military period, they have Military One Source, which offers 12, I think it's up to 12 now. So at that time it was 11, but you get like 11 at the time. You get 11 free sessions to just go and sit down and talk to a therapist. And I mean, that's the one thing like about therapy, like all your problems are not going to go away, but your therapist will tell you about, identifiers and triggers. That you have to look out for. So this is what, like, one thing is a trigger is just, of course, for some is just being around fireworks, and that might be a trigger for some. And other people, that might be the anger or spurts of just crying for no reason, like you don't know why you're crying. I remember I went to a military ball one time, and they would play. I want to say it was like either Taps or Amazing Grace on the bagpipe and stuff like that. And it's just like, I just started thinking about my first tour, and the guys, because I had really bad. You have survivor syndrome or survivor's guilt. Like all these people, these same roads that you travel down, these same roads that other people got blown up on, you didn't get blown up. Like I think there was one time I got, like, my platoon or my battery or whatever, we got hit 11 days straight. And for whatever reason, like, between God and my praying grandma, it was either the truck in front of me or the truck behind me. So that used to fuck with me. I was like, why didn't I ever get hit? It's like you almost, like, it just really fucks with you. So you really have to go and you have to talk to somebody about that kind of stuff. Just to even just get it off your chest, just get off your spirit. Between that and then, of course, I had to, it's about the year that I was getting out, I went and talked to behavioral health and stuff like that. And it really just revealed a lot of things about especially stuff like I had been carrying up until I got into the Army. So I had been, just through talking to a therapist, I had, of course, got diagnosed with PTSD and depression, clinical depression. So that's just something that's a constant battle that you have to deal with day in, day out. And I really feel like people need to talk to somebody about that kind of stuff. The only thing that I do think is negative on some things, and I don't want to keep somebody else from going or whatever, this is my personal views about this, is the fact that the medication that is given to you. I feel like you have to, yes, some people need medicine for chemical imbalances and stuff like that they have. Just the medicine that they had put me on it had me feeling like a zombie. So, like, I literally, and of course the job I had, I was like, I can't be feeling like this.
Right.
Just, getting up at 4 a.m. and having to pop this pill, and like, you're out of it and loopy till noon. And of course I'm over there, I've got to make split decisions and stuff like that. I can't be on it. So I would, it's like, not take my meds. So it's like you go back into the same routine and not, really dealing with the problem. So I just, I think it has to be like an active therapy and stuff like that, which getting you, and this is the best thing for any, like, veterans that are listening to whatever, you just have to keep your mind active. You have to, like, get off of that couch. You have to find, especially ones that are, getting out. That's another kind of traumatic event of getting out of the military, something that you've known all this is your life or whatever, you have to like kind of speak to somebody. Like I feel like anybody that's gone through any traumatic event needs to go to therapy. Like whether it's, you know, going through a divorce, going through even not even a divorce, but a long, let's say you've been with somebody for 5 years and, you know, it broke like bad. Like you should talk to somebody. Or a big thing that's a problem at the military is sexual assault. So it's like if you've been through that kind of thing, like you've been sexually assaulted, whether it's male or female, you need to go speak to somebody. And then of course, if you have a friend that you feel like, all right, you should tell them, like, you be hunted. Like that's what friendship is. Like if you're my partner, like you should tell me, one, and I'm fucking up, and two, you know, if I should get some help or where I can get some help or stuff like that. That's what I think, you know, true friendship is in my eyes. But yeah, I'm really big on therapy because I had too many guys, like our veterans, we're killing ourselves at a rate of 22 per day. So, and I've had, you know, a couple of, I hated getting them phone calls. Like, it was like, you know, such and such took his own life, or we found, you know, such and such, whoever, you know, in this room, you know, dead or whatever. I'm like, cause from an overdose. I'm like, fuck, you know, it's almost like, man, if they would have just, or you almost are like, man, if they would have just reached out or talked to somebody, or if somebody would have been there, like seen the signs and like got this person some help. Cause I mean, like suicide is like that, you know, you can't come back from that. Like, and I think, and it's, you know, my people may find this like really kind of selfish, but I don't think suicide is definitely, I don't feel like it's selfish because the weight that you're carrying, really nobody else is carrying it. Right. Like you know, somebody else, they can help you like get through this stuff, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to deal with those demons on a regular basis. I think, you know, friends have to be there to like show you and support and stuff like that, but you know, you're the one that has to kind of, you're on there and you have to deal with it. Some people is, you know, luckily, I mean, I've been there a couple times, you know, where I thought about like taking my own life. Luckily, I have, you know, a kind of a strong sense of God and stuff like that, where I don't know where my like if like I guess like the whole thing, like I feel like I don't know where my soul is gonna end up if I do this, like if I kill myself and stuff like that. I think that's a big thing. But so for some people, like they really can't, you know, it's too heavy for them. Like, and I don't, and I get it. Like, I'm not gonna blame that person for doing what they felt like they had to do. Like, I just couldn't, you know, carry out the deed all the way by myself. So,
couldn't.
So I hope, I hope that answers the question.
No,
right.
It definitely did, and I mean, it's a strong testament to therapy, and I think the thing is I think people in general seek out some form of therapy, whether they realize it or not. Going to your friends and talking to your friends about something that happened in your relationship is a form of therapy. You're talking about it with somebody. But I think there is this notion behind going to a quote-unquote stranger to do it. And my thing is, don't look at it as though you're going to a stranger. Look at it as you going to a professional.
And I think
someone who's qualified to. No, you're fine. Someone who's qualified to talk about it. And I get it. Talking to your friends is one thing. That's fine. You get a lot of great advice from there. But there's some things that only a professional could help you with.
Yeah, and I think even talking to friends, I think we hide things from our friends because we don't want to skew the image that they have of us. I think talking to because that was one to like a lot of, I hear things, people negative about therapy. Oh, I'm not going to tell a stranger something, or I'm not going to tell, you know, somebody that I already know of myself. Like, one, this is a licensed person. Like, they've done all the training they need to get and stuff like that. And they're going to tell you things and they're going to give you strategy that you probably couldn't come up with your own. Like, I think one good thing was that I learned through therapy, and this was helping like with relationships and stuff like that, was the fact that I'm a giving person. Like, I'm really a giving, like I will give you, you know, I will either give you those, it's funny too, because like walking down, like I was working down in East Atlanta Village. So, you know, if you ever been down there or Edgewood, like people gonna ask you for some money, like, hey bruh, like, you know, my gas, you know, my car ran out of gas up the street, and I don't know how I'm gonna make it. You know, I was like, bro, you probably have a car, but I see you hurting right now, so I'm going to give you whatever, you know, if I got something in my pocket. But, you know, with that in relationships, like you give, and then the person that you're with is not giving anything in return. So, you know, the therapist is all like, you know, you're a giver being with takers. where you need to be with another giver. And I was like, man, I never thought of it, like that. So a therapist can really kind of tell you some things about yourself that you wouldn't already know, and they can really, give you a guided kind of roadmap on, really kind of going through healing. But like I said, there's some things that you're not gonna. I think we're every friend that we have only knows like kind of a piece of us. Like I don't think there's that one friend. Maybe there is, but I don't think there's really that one friend that we have that like knows every single detail about our life. Unless they've been there, every part of the road and stuff like that. So this is where you feel comfortable talking like you and I, like we barely really in passing, unless we have conversation on Twitter and stuff like that. But we're not like ace boom coons and stuff like that. But it feels almost easier to tell you stuff versus like somebody out there, a friend or something like that.
Because you worry about judgment sometimes.
Yeah, you're worried about that judgment. So, and whereas a therapist, you're not getting that judgment. Like they're not, they're trained not to judge like that. Like you really are trained not to, almost like you're not even supposed to like have, kind of crazy facial expressions like when certain things are said. So you don't have that judgment piece. So.
Wow. That's amazing. That's definitely a deeper insight to it than what I originally thought. I think I'd gotten to a point where I understood the purpose of therapy. I was just at a point where I felt like, I mean, I'm good. I can't speak for everybody. I'm pretty good at diagnosing my own problems, but I can understand the need for it. Like one of my relationships, past relationships. We'd gone to see a relationship counselor, which is a form of therapy, and it was actually her idea to do it for her, and so I just went to support because we'd been broken up at the time, and I learned some things in that conversation with that person, which kind of just solidified everything for me. I was like, wow, this is a professional opinion. Like I remember, like she kind of flipped off in the session, and dude looked over at me, and he was like, you know what? This is what he said. This is what you have, and she's not going to change. This is it. Like this is this dude's professional opinion. This dude has 3-4 degrees, 8 letters behind his name, and this is what this dude telling me. I'm like, yeah, it's a wrap. I can't risk that. So yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that piece. I want to change.
You definitely can't get it wrapped around that.
I want to change gears a little bit to you met the porn star Melrose Foxxx. What's good with that? How did you meet her? Shout out to Melrose Foxxx if you're listening. You definitely got to. I might reach out to her, try to get on the show, see what's happening.
Nah, she's not, and I'll ask you a question in a few right afterwards.
Okay.
But she was one of them ones, like, of course, when you deploy, like, you go through a lot of porn. You're almost a porn connoisseur. So I was at a beer fest last year over at Masquerade that they had over there, and I was like, the cups were big as hell. Like usually beer fest, you got little cups.
Wait, does she live here?
You get somewhere lit, but. I think she do. I think.
I know Roxy Reynolds lives here.
I
know Roxy Reynolds lives like right up the street from me. I know she live here. Melrose.
If I ever run into Roxy, like I just.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I saw her, and I was like, I did a double take, and I was like, then I was like, I looked at her arm, I was like, I know that tattoo from somewhere. And then I was like, going through my brain, I was like, that's fucking Melrose Foxxx. And so, of course, I was all like, hey, I was like, I approached her, I was like, hey, my name's Les, blah, blah. Be really respectful. Like, I was like, because, you got to kind of be, because they're used to, like, people approaching them on a regular. So I was just kind of being like, all right, I'm a fan of your work. Just, I know you're busy right now. Would you mind just taking a picture? So she was like, all right, cool. And I was drunk as shit. Like, I was pretty damn lit. So, cause I had been drinking all day, and then of course the sun and stuff like that. But I was lit, and I, got her picture. So I was like, man. I was like, damn, if I had the money for it, I'd be like, hey, how much? So, hey,
oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, because come on, man. Like, just the whole, I was just throwing, I thought about it in my head. I was like, hey, once again, what's the worst you could say? No, but I was like, that'd been too much. I ain't trying to come up as a creep. So, I ain't trying to be up on her Instagram, on her Twitter feed, talking about some creep stepping up to me at the beer fest and whatever. So I want to ask you who would be on your Mount Rushmore porn stars?
Whoo! She owned it. I'll tell you that. Let me see. Mount Rushmore porn stars. How many is that? Like 4 or 5?
4. Yeah, just 4.
4. All right. So let me think. Let me go down the list. I would have to. I'm gonna start with Early Pinky. Definitely got to go with Early Pinky. Early. Definitely Roxy. Roxy Reynolds is on there. I like Lisa Ann. Okay. Lisa Ann is on it.
So we got 3. We need one more.
I'm trying to make sure. I want to say Melrose. I'm just going down the list real quick. I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out that needs to be there. We got her. We got Lisa Ann. I did my affirmative action by listening to Lisa Ann. I met Jada Fire. I met her. Oh no! So Melrose would be there, but I gotta put, and this is in no particular order, but I gotta say Janet Jackman because she is still bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, she's still insane. She is still, and she a legend. So yeah.
See mine. Let me see. Mine would be up top. But of course, Jasmine Cashmere all time. She's the GOAT in my she's the GOAT. So we would say Jasmine Cashmere. Roxy Reynolds. I feel like at one point I called her the Reggie Bush from USC because she was of course Reggie was all purpose. He could run, he could catch, he could return, and that's what I feel like she was doing in the game. She could do. Roxy could do it all. She could play any position that she needed to play.
Yeah.
I really hate it, and this is I'm mad that I be knowing when they got these surgeries because I've been watching for so long. But and then right after that, Havana Ginger. After she got her tits done, that was a big thing, and then Isla Foxx. So that was because I'm not a huge fan of white porn. White porn. I don't know.
I mean, Lisa Ann is nice though.
Yeah, she's nice. Yeah, but I think my whole thing with white porn is overproduced. It just comes off a little too fake to me. So that's just mine. I'm not knocking nobody else that like her, but that's me. So all 4, of course, Jasmine, Roxy, Havana, and Isla Foxx. So yeah.
I try. I mean, Isla Foxx is cool. I tried to. I couldn't. I couldn't get into Isla Foxx as much. She had a few cool scenes, but I usually. If I'm watching the Isla Foxx, it's usually someone else that's in it with her. That makes it work.
It's and then it's funny because Gogo Fukmi, she follows me on Twitter. So
she come. Hey.
I'm gonna have to shoot a few more DMs, but hey, I just want you on the show. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, me and Marie Love, I haven't talked to her in a while. We used to keep in contact a lot, especially when I lived in Los Angeles, but so I might see if I can get a couple of them on the show. But yeah,
if I can get some of them like her, I need to start shooting at my IG. I know she's really active on Twitter, so I'm pretty sure if I kind of just hey, what's up? This is what it is. Ain't no trying to do some creepy stuff. I just want to once again just talk to you and stuff like that. Different things about your experience and go from there. So hopefully that'd be a goal of mine. So.
Cool. Let's round it out here. I like to ask everybody this: where do people get you fucked up?
Man, it's crazy. Just talking to me crazy, cause I just, especially more per se on Twitter, because of course I'm in school right now, so I don't have those regular I just go to school, learn, and then I leave. So I don't have to really deal with folks, but through Twitter it's all just folks, especially the ones that get real tough on there. And I'm all like, I just be thinking like, you're not gonna do anything. Like I could turn on my location right now. You're not gonna show up. And then at some point, I'm all like, and I almost thought about doing it sometimes, but I think it's really corny, so I'm not gonna ever do it. But I almost thought about putting up like a few of my award write-ups of those times that I had, I was in the firefights and stuff like that. Just to show that, like, dude, I'm not the one. But it's corny. Like, I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, just people trying me on there, and it's all like, really. So that's when I just had to start hitting, the block button once they get like really super disrespectful, and that's about it. Like for the most part. I'm a pretty laid back dude, so it don't take a lot. It takes a lot to like get me pissed off. So. And ain't none of it coming from Twitter because like, I can just turn it off, hit the block button or something, or mute, or go live life.
Exactly. Before we get out of here, plug your show, plug anything you want, anywhere you're gonna be, where people can find you, what you want them to know, anything we didn't cover.
Man, shoot. Of course, y'all can find me on Twitter. Less is more. LESIZMORE. I try to get the IS. But of course it's taken. I wish I would have put more thought. It's like some people put a lot of thought in their Twitter handles, and I just was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do all this. Like I could have thrown an Outcast reference out there or whatever. But yeah, but you got that. More for less on Twitter. I mean on Instagram is just MORE the number 4 LES on there. Let me see. Of course, then you got the show, like the Morris and Jerome Show. That's my baby right there. Just just sitting there, just talking real life shit. Really the opposite of fronting for the timeline on there. It's a good mix of our spin on current events, and then just sometimes just discussing random topics that I don't see people really talking about. You can find all the shows on the MorrisandJeromeShow.com. But if you need a breakdown, of course, it's on iTunes, Podomatic, Pod Directory, Pod Republic, Stitcher. I think I got all of them on there. So
Definitely
we really try to push it out. SoundCloud as well. So and of course, like you were saying, bro, you only put like 2 episodes. Bro, I'm cheap. Like I'm already we're already tired of paying enough. So I'm all like, hey, whatever I can get out of SoundCloud for free.
Man, SoundCloud I think gives you like about 3 hours, three hours worth of minutes that you can do for each week. So for me, that's usually about 2-3 shows at the most, depending on how long my shows are. So yeah, I definitely keep my most recent on there because I really want you to listen on some of the other ones. But people listen through SoundCloud, so I mean, that's cool. Whatever works. Plus, I like when I tweet out the show on when I send it on Twitter. You can actually listen to the show while you're tweeting, so that's cool.
Yeah. So definitely, folks too. Like if they listen to the show, like definitely do the hashtag NJ Show right there, and that's kind of another thing that we're trying to like push and stuff like this, just to see like people live tweeting and stuff like that. So yeah, and then of course I guess a big thing too is I'm graduating in May. So if people want to follow me right around that time, like I'm definitely gonna be giving my testimony on that motherfucker. Like I will be talking about. I probably could talk about my day one struggle, but I'm like, that would be too long. So I'll just probably give my testimony from the time I got out of the Army to now, just definitely get my degree and just, all the things that it went into dealing with that. So, definitely for folks who have kind of did life a little bit backward, just like it's like they say, it's never too late. As long as you got, breath in your lungs and the sun is shining out there, like it's not too late to go out there and do something that you want to do or have aspiration to do. You just gotta keep grinding. So yeah.
Word. It kind of the audio kind of jumped up a little bit. You said that you to follow the conversation for your show hashtag what is it M&J Show.
Yeah. MJ show right there. And like I said, I know it's right at the end, but just like, of course, I'm graduating in May, so I'll be done with that joint. And folks I'll definitely be getting my testimony about that on the show. So,
all right, cool, man. I appreciate it. That's the homie Les from the Morris and Jerome Show. Like he said, look for it on iTunes, Stitcher, Twitter, all those great places. And I appreciate you for coming on, man.
Oh, no problem, man. Definitely, thanks for having me on. Thanks once again. Thank you for being on my joint. Just
Oh, the
saying
lottery
what you had
ticket
to say, talking
episode.
about that
Yeah.
real shit. Yeah, the lottery ticket episode. Yeah, definitely on that joint, and I appreciate you for being on there. And like I said, like I said before, like we just work all together and stuff like that, and help each other out. Then we can get a long way.
Hey, man, I'll come on anytime you want, man. You definitely welcome here anytime, brother. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAP Show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAP Show. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.